Hey folks, it's Ben. We're here with our 1993 Chevy Lumina APV, and we're going to be doing a little bit of diagnostic work just for kicks. It's becoming winter soon, and this is a wintertime backup car. So let's go ahead and see exactly where the thermostat's sitting. I think it's correct. It's nice warm heat, but we actually have diagnostic software that I keep going over, but actually haven't talked to anybody about in this van, called TurboLink. So looks like we've got a green light to go there. Let me hop on the other side and gently close my door on this. And let's do a little bit of digging around here. For those of you not familiar with TurboLink, it is an ODB1 or assembly line data link data reader, very similar to like a Win ALDL. Of course, being called TurboLink, it was originally built for turbocharged Buick Regals. Now, in my case, this is not a turbo Buick, but it is a Buick with a 3.8. It's not even a Buick, but it has a Buick 3.8 liter. So it has an ODB1 connector that you see here. It's a serial connector that has this proprietary end put on it, and it has an actual website called App Auto written on it, but I don't believe that's active anymore. It does have all the pins out, but I don't actually know what magic is inside here outside of the green lamp there. So I can't say if there's an IC chip in there, or I guess that's redundant, but IC or resistors or whatever that's in here. But I know for my van, we have, I don't know if all the vans have a cute little data cover like this. It says diagnostic connector. Not cute. And then my port's right here, and there are two little ears on the bottom side. And so I'm going to take that and put my ears like so. You can actually see there's only 3 pins. Nope, there's 2 over. No, those are not pins. There are 3 pins. So of all the pins that we have here, we're actually only using 3. So we'll wiggle that on there, and that's going to be right in the way of my knees. Perfect. Focusing on my main screen, let's come over to the TurboLink application, I guess, back then, and fire it off. Starting TurboLink, please wait. I don't think a minivan will be listed, but we'll find out. Let's begin using TurboLink. We are using version 4.0.6, which I think is the newest version. We were using the 87 monofill. Let's go to select new vehicle. See if we're even on the list. Let's go to 93 and pretend like we're doing it. Next. Does have Chevrolet. I use this for my LT1 Caprice station wagon. Ooh. Yeah, see, it does not list our model of vehicle here, but that's okay. We'll pick something close. What would be equivalent? Guess we can try just the van and see what happens. And then it's going to ask for any of those actual rear-wheel drive ones, so we're not there. So we might want to go back and do the Buick. I guess we're doing supercharged. Click finished. At this point, it's building its screen. Unless I'm gonna need to say connect. So at this point, I'm gonna turn the ignition to on. Turn the fan off. Okay, and click connect and see how we do. Okay, so this is what we've got for our supercharged car. The biggest thing we can kind of look at immediately is our throttle position sensor. So if I push the pedal down, does it go up? And absolutely it does. So as a percentage and as a voltage. So we are communicating, so that's handy. It says the coolant and air temp are about the same. So we've got that going for us. And our speed at 1, I'm guessing that's default 0. RPMs are at 20. Mass airflow. This is a mass airflow car, so we are currently reading none. It's currently in park. These are related to fuel trim, I believe. Block learn mean is exact kind of like where the ECM's looking for stuff. Volts right now, it's not showing anything. Air fuel. But there's a couple screens that we can actually look at. If you notice up here, we've got a spreadsheet that we can click on. And what this does is it tracks, essentially builds all the things that it can read across the top here into spreadsheet form, and you can actually ask it to record. It's currently not, but you can see the timers ticking as it goes along. There's also the MALF, which is the malfunction light, history, quad, driver, module failure, whatever that means. I don't have a check engine light on right now, so that's something else. The strip chart is handy if you designate a specific item. So if you pick anything, it'll be over time. So if you click this and of all the like EGR and all the sensor inputs, the BSS even, it'll tell you that. So if you're looking for something diagnostically, you certainly can do that. And if we bring it over to the details, this is more informative in terms of, this is pretty much your raw data kicked out into a colorful sheet here, where is the engine run, is in closed loop, rich, lean, AC request, AC clutch engaged, fans, defrost, EGR solenoids, various things like the cruise control, is it on? The indicators currently indicating park. Throttle position sensor once again is showing. You can change that around. Is the engine hot? The ignition system, spark advance, retard, the battery voltage if there's a bad cylinder, ESC, I think that's like spark knock count. The ITN and the BLM are O2 related, and cell and air fuel ratio, O2 sensors, mass airflow, mass air temperature. So all the cool stuff there. So let's go ahead and start the van up and see if we can get at least a temperature here. All of a sudden we've got some RPMs, so that's good news. Let's bring it on over right now to the dashboard. See what's come alive here. So the first thing we should see is probably the air temp go down because we're starting to pull in cold air from outside. We're seeing our O2 sensors are now kicking in actual data that's important. Mass airflow is now actually indicating mass air flow coming in. And our air fuel ratio is at 11.3437, so that kind of tells us that we're running a little bit off of optimum. And right now it's not really doing anything. In fact, it's showing me all the, if I stop and drop it into drive, that's neutral of course. There it is, so that's drive. So it's not telling me any gear selection. The key here is what I'll actually want to do is watch the coolant level. And what I'm going to look for is to see what temperature the fan turns on. Just to be sure we're at the right move here. So if we go back to details. Still thinks we're going 1 mile per hour. Tells me where my idle air control motor is. So if I give it a little gas, it's going to change that value. So if I let off the gas, it'll readjust as it's trying to maintain the vehicle idle. And that's something I've actually also been trying to dig out for. Sometimes they'll get racing idle, and if that IAC goes to 0, yeah, that means that I've got a leak somewhere, and it's saying no more idle, but it's still getting idle there. So and like, I honestly think it's still idling a little high, but it is cold. And you can see my O2 voltages, our millivolts, are starting to bounce around a little bit as it gets up to temp. And so if I come over here to the strip chart and I click on my, do I have my IAC in here? I do. So if I click on IAC, it'll now start charting my idle air control, and I believe it's also showing the value there. So if I come down here and add, let's say, RPM, and like I'm way high, there we go. You can see how they almost follow each other. And she's idling high. So if I go ahead and put it into drive, The IAC opens up a little bit. And that little stepper motor should be working to keep itself alive. And then if I look at coolant temperature, just for fun, I don't have that. So block learn mean. Then go manifold air temperature, that's really never going to change. Actually, that'll actually go up as the engine compartment gets warm, but the vehicle isn't moving. We can click back over here to data and still see that, you know, everything's fine. The IAC is actually, I think, fairly closed at this point. So I think I have a fairly bad vacuum leak somewhere in the system. And if I come back to the Qt dashboard, this is handy when you're going down the road. They'll tell me my coolant's at 102, air temp's at 51. So let's see how hot it gets. Now for fun while we're here, what's the IAC doing right now? Cool, so I had my engine race on its own and the idle air control motor was wide open, so it seems like I might have an issue with that. I wonder if we can go around under the hood and get it to misbehave while interacting with the idle air control motor. Idle air control, that's mass airflow here. This is the throttle position sensor here on the other side. So we're going to have to pull the idle air control motor out and see what's going on, because that is way too high of RPM for being parked. So that's good to know. It might not be a vacuum leak that's causing our issue. Because yeah, that should be closed at this high RPM. And our temperature's up there. That's better. IAC's down to 9. She's barely stumbling. So we might have to pull that out and clean it. It might be hanging and causing us to have high idle issues. So if it's dirty and stuck, that could be why. Because that's about right at 13. So that's mission 1 complete. We are in closed loop. Did that turn on? I think it did. It's light right here. So it is using the oxygen sensors to determine. So it's going to keep trying to keep this in the middle. And really what we're here for is we're showing a temperature of so what's going on here again? If we put on our strip chart, See, when I jolt the throttle, it lets the IAC go down and the RPM go down equivalently. And it closes and tries to... So I think I have an idle air control issue. Okay, I don't need the spreadsheet. Oh, there we go. The desired idle is actually at 713 and it can't get there. So that indicates that I have a vacuum leak. But something is dancing around in there. So I'm wondering if this is a little off. It seems like whacking it with the throttle actually frees it up. And like at 10, see, now we've achieved our idle. And I'm wondering if it goes to move and it pops, and that's why it so we're at about where we want to be, and the IAC is where it wants to be. So I think I'm battling an idle air control motor that's just not quite cutting the mustard. It seems like it goes too high and then it freezes for a bit and then it goes a little too low and then sometimes it gets it. But the engine RPM follows whatever this does, so that's where I need to look to see what's going on over there. Cool. So, and how are we doing on temperature? Let's just verify while we're here. Let's hit the dashboard. We've been hanging at 177 for a while now, so that means that the thermostat is open. It's running coolant through the system, but hasn't had time to heat soak yet, but that's seemingly it's hanging around that 180, 181, which means I've got a fairly weak thermostat, but didn't I just change this? I can't remember. But yeah, 180 seems fine. So looks like coolant wise we're good, and that's confirmed by the temperature gauge. If you notice on my gauge there, it actually reads just on in between the 1 and the 0 is what I'm looking at here. And so if we go ahead and confirm that with that, it's looking like that's about 180 degrees, which is exactly where we want it to be. I know if I leave it here long enough, the fan will actually turn on at about 100 degrees Celsius, which is about 212 Fahrenheit. So there you go. But I think we're having idle air control motor problems, so we will work on acquiring those components so that we can should probably pull it first, see how dirty it is, and then because now, yeah, we're way back open again, and of course our RPMs are way up high. So if you have any questions on TurboLink, let's just check something else out here. Let's turn the van off while we're here. Let's keep it on, and let's go to Start menu. And the app crashes? Nope, it's still here. Let's go ahead and see if we can go back to like 1991. It looks like I pressed new vehicle. So if we go down to 1991, it's a good, nice numbered year. Let's go up 90 and hit next. I wonder if we can do even a Cadillac now. If we do Chevrolet. Question is could we do a front wheel drive 3.1? And I'm not sure it can. The S10 would have a 2.8 liter in it. And there's one, TBI 2.8. Let's go finish. Guess I have to hit connect, and then of course it'll load the screen, but I won't be able to load any data because my car is going to be fairly different, and it's going to be kind of different looking too. You got some different stuff going on. Unable to connect to vehicle, shutting down communications. But you can kind of see all the stuff that it's also available. So it could probably do it. There's a lot less stuff. Absolute pressure instead of mass airflow. Battery and stuff. Yeah, no data was received. I hear you, brother. Coolant temperature. So it can probably do it. I know I've had to put a resistor in with my Pontiac Fiero to get this app to work, because that's an 88. So if we go to main menu and go to select new vehicle and go to, say, let's pick an 87. That's my wife's Fiero GT. Next, Pontiac. Yeah, oh, it does have a Fiero. It does have the MPI. I click finish. Maybe this newer version has it. I can't remember last time I plugged my 88 in, but looks like it does have some compatibility with that as well. So I have to check that out next time. But if you guys have any questions for this in the van, we diagnosed that we have an idle air control motor issue and that our thermostat's okay. Feel free to ask, comment, questions, and about 3 people have probably made it this far in the video, so we won't worry about that. Headlights are much better now. We'll catch you next time.